activities do you and Nan and Dar engage in that may represent activity theory or disengagement theory?
Dar is more applicable to disengagement theory as he is deaf, so he becomes really frustrated when he can't engage properly in conversations, so he tends to just avoid them. He's injured and he's very ill often, so he can't play golf, which he used to love to do. He's president of the golf club and he used to love going out to the track with the horse races, but he just can't do it anymore because of disability. So he's sort of been unwillingly forced into disengagement. Whereas Nan is more applicable to activity theory, as she plays mahjong, she plays cards, she makes beautiful quilts and knits. She visits my mum and dad up in Kenilworth and my aunt in Brisbane. We go to lunch once a month. We see movies when there's something we want to see. And even though she's slower than she used to be and it's a bit harder for her to do, she still gets out and engages socially far more than Dar, simply because she's able to.
So in terms of my dad, just a brief introduction to him. He was a child of the Depression and lost his father during World War II, only child, and then met my mother and married into quite a large family and had a large family himself. So post-retirement for him in terms of activity theory was very involved in his whole family. He loved to travel, loved to read, really displayed, I guess, a lot of those activity theory type of descriptions. And, walked a fair bit, those sorts of things. So I see that activity theory as being very applicable in those, especially in those sort of earlier, older person years, where they have good physical health, good social networks, etc. In terms of the disengagement theory, I saw that very clearly after my father was diagnosed with an illness. He was a generation that saw illness as being something to be embarrassed of. He saw that as a weakness. And so, consequently, he shut himself away from society more and more towards the end, just refused to see any visitors, wanted to wait for himself to get better before he would go and travel, so consequently didn't do the last bit of travelling that he wanted to do, and really, very much that disengagement was very much applicable. So disengagement theory, I think, I agree with the criticisms of that. I see that less as a choice and more as a consequence of certain situations that happen when people are older. If they're sick or they're unwell, or even our society in general tends to withdraw. And it's not necessarily their choice to withdraw, but they do become disengaged ultimately, regardless of the reason.